If you ever write a script and start with groans of pain, you know whatever you're going to be talking about is going to be painful. So, I think I'm a patient person. Well, at least I thought that. But then I played Mickey Mousecapade for the NES. I am well aware of why NES games are as hard as they are. It's because since they needed to be shorter games, an easier game would make you feel like you wasted your money. A game that not only took up as much time as you wanted it to, but something that you would simply put away after finishing it. Difficult games make you keep on coming back, not only because it's rare that you would finish said game in one sitting, but the satisfaction you gain from completing such a difficult game would feel all the grander. However, pride is lost when a victory not only feels cheap, but undeservedly won. Undeserved, is that a word? Whatever, it doesn't matter. Here's audio that my friend took a little bit after I beat the game. I did not come through 5 levels of a nightmarish hellscape to save your sorry excuse from...
You did it.
I'm not happy about it.
You saved Alice from Alice in Wonderland from Maleficent from seemingly no context.
She looked like a potato.
Have anything you want to say to the fans at home?
I would swear, but I would say I have enough pride, but after this game I don't have any pride.
If you how long does it stay on this screen?
Probably forever until I click a button.
If you want to click a button?
Yeah, sure. And can we see the credits of this awful game so I know who to write angry letters to?
Yeah.
Or to swear to, I guess? I don't know. Nope, no credits?
Try hitting the same button.
Yeah, I guess. Nah, they don't know. They don't want to know they don't want you to know who made this piece of trash.
All it says is who licensed it.
I wasn't exactly pleased with my victory, for a few reasons that I'll gladly delve into. First, let's talk about the difference between difficult and unfair. It's really difficult to explain what the difference is, but anyone who's played a game can tell when things are unfair and when things are difficult. Anyone who games knows about Mega Man, and if you really want to delve into that, you should check out Eoraptor's Sequelitis on Mega Man, how they establish rules and show you how the game works without directly explaining it to you, and even to a lesser extent his Sequelitis on Ocarina of Time. But it brings up the difference between unfair and difficult, and that's the problem with Mousecapade. I think a good way to see if something's unfair or difficult is to see if it's up to luck, or if the only feasible way to overcome the current obstacle is to trick it out and do it in a way the developers did not intend to do it. There are many moments with this game that are like this. First off, you start out with 4 lives, and the only way to get more is in 2 places. And they're both in a secret location, in the first and the last level. So, all in all, you're going to have 6 lives, if you know what you're doing and where you're going. Next is the bosses. It's nearly impossible to actually beat a boss without taking damage. And sure, it may be my skill level, but the projectiles you have gets destroyed when it hits the boss's projectiles. So you constantly have to be avoiding their attacks, not only to try and avoid taking damage, but also to try even hit them. Oh, and for goodness sakes, do not touch them. For some reason, the bosses in the levels all immediately kill you if you touch them. Maybe it's to avoid you going behind them and just shooting them, but I'll get to that in a bit. Now let's talk about secrets. You already know about the 2 extra lives in the game, but there are more secrets everywhere. I found these out by randomly shooting at things, and sometimes you'll hit something that doesn't actually have an enemy or an object there. That's the secrets. These items are all super useful things, from a fairy that gives you invincibility for a couple seconds, to a gem that fully heals you, to a differently colored gem that kills every enemy on screen. And let me tell you, I am glad I accidentally found these items, because let me tell you again, it is nearly impossible to beat this game without said items. I'll go into specifics when I talk about each level, but that healing gem is pretty useful right before a boss fight, since, you have to sponge a lot of the boss's attacks. However, these oh so useful items have one downside. and it's only in the first and the last level. The bird. I have no idea what kind of bird it is, but whatever. If there is one thing that this game has made me hate, it's anything with wings. Sometimes when you hit one of these surprises, then a raven comes out and steals your wife. Are they married? Whatever. The point is that a crow comes out and takes Minnie, and that makes every surprise hitbox a key. And when you get that key, you are taken to a room with a 1 in 4 chance that you actually get your wife back. Now, Minnie doesn't have a lot of purpose. She doesn't have a hitbox, so she doesn't take damage, but if she falls into a bottomless pit, then you die too. So you might think, oh, I'll get her later. But she does have one use. If you get her projectile, then she shoots an extra star when you do, which means you deal more damage. So overall, very useful, which is why you want her. Also, she's your wife. So I'm going to go through each level and talk about the problems and how much I hate it compared to other levels. And don't worry about spoilers. If you actually want to play this game, then I recommend watching this video. It'll help you. The first level is pretty easy. Well, it is comparatively, I guess. It's weird though, because they don't even start you out with your projectile. You have to go get it from this room with one of the only 2 chandeliers that actually fall on you. Anyways, you see that chest up there? Yeah, that's Mini Star. So you have to go all the way around to get that. Anyways, after getting the key, you have to beat this dumb cat and make your way to Mini Star. And that has a chance of being a winged creature, which continues to add to my hatred of anything with wings. Anyways, this boss of this level is a witch. After beating her, you have to backtrack all the way to the beginning of the level. It's the only level that does this. Whatever. Going back ends the level and leads to the next one. The ocean. The shortest level in this game. But apparently the shorter the level, the more obnoxious it is. And the ocean level is the most luck-based out of all of these. For one dumb reason. These waves. The waves that are here have a hitbox. Sure, alright, they didn't make it so it's not super easy. So just jump over them, right? Ha! No. If you jump too high or not at the right angle, then these dumb jellyfish jump out of the waves. So even if you jump over the waves, you still have to deal with these jellies. I found out the best way is if you shoot right here, there's a chance you'll get a fairy. And the fairy means you can destroy the waves. And there's a high chance they'll drop a health gem, which means that you can tank the gator boss at the end of this level. After that, you have to deal with the woods. The only level that can be kind of fun, if you know what you're doing. You see, the gimmick is you have to go through all the seasons, then a flower field. You start with spring and make it all the way to winter. However, the way you get to the end is a pain if you don't know how to get there. You see, there are doors in each season. If you choose the right door, you move on to the next season. But if you don't, well, you might move back a season. Or you might move all the way back to the first season. The easiest way is to take all the secret doors. There's one here in spring, which leads to autumn. There's one here in autumn, which leads to winter. And then the one in winter, you have to go all the way back to the start sign, which leads to the flower field. My only advice is to keep your health up, and if it's low, shoot these plants projectiles. They give health gems sometimes. The flower field isn't too hard. They open the ground here and at another spot, but they open it too early for you to actually fall in. The boss here is a snake, which my friend keeps on pointing out was a caterpillar from Alice in Wonderland in the Japanese version, and he is very mad about that. The snake can be a pain because it charges at you sometimes, but it will never go all the way to the end of the screen. So just stay as far left as possible, and you should be fine. Let's talk about my least favorite level, the pirate ship, which at first I thought was an airship because Mario conditioned me to think ships plus platformers meant airships. But anyways, this is the shortest level, with 4 screens, 7 enemies, and no secret hitboxes. But I said the shorter the level, the more obnoxious it is, and this is the most obnoxious one. Here's why. It's difficult not to get hit by things in most levels, especially during the bosses. However, it's impossible to avoid in this level, due to these little punks. Their projectile is impossible to avoid, and if you're thinking, oh, just get good, this entire time I've been showing you a speedrun of this game, so if you see them get hurt, it's because you can't not get hurt. Even the boss is more annoying than the rest. It's one of only 2 bosses that you need to climb a ladder to fight them, and the ladders are super annoying because Once you're on them, you can't just jump off. And Pirate Pete over here apparently has magic knives that not only never end, but change direction. Ugh. If you're able to beat this boss, then the final level comes up. The castle, the final level of the game. Everything is here. Annoying enemies, difficult fights, buzzards that steal your wife, and even a Maleficent potato. This level isn't the most annoying, but it doesn't pull any punches. First, you have to go up this path and get a key. Then, you have to go back all the way the other path and beat a walrus and Pete again. And if you want that extra life, you have to beat another dumb walrus. Navigate through this dumb castle and get your way to the Maleficent potato fights. Then damage Pooh's Baster and shoot her from behind to win. This is really the only way to win. Oh, and if you die in this boss fight, they send you to the actual furthest room away, and you practically have to play the stage all over again. And all for you to rescue Alice over here, someone who doesn't even look like they need help. I love games, but cheesing the game out like this just feels like a hollow victory. It feels like I cheated my way to get past, but I've thrown so many lives at that dumb Maleficent potato, and all I've gotten were some game overs. And that's what it feels like. A game over. You won, sure, but you didn't. And that's a pain to deal with. That's not something you want your game to feel like a hollow victory. But I guess that's just my opinion.